心になって戦って生き残る価値のある大人になりましょう。バトルロワイヤル。
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello there.
This week, we'll be discussing the science fiction action thriller Battle Royale.
First of all, wrong, and wrong.
What's wrong? Other than just being
I'm not sure it's science fiction. I'm not sure that it's thrilling. And what was the other thing?
I don't remember. Action?
No, there wasn't enough of that either.
And is it pronounced Royale or Royal?
Because we're gonna never be royals.
Because back in the day, I would watch wrestling, and they'd call it a battle royal. But the way this is spelled suggests it's Royale, like Royale with cheese. So I don't know how it works.
Is there an E on the end?
Yes.
Then it's Royale.
I just have never heard of Battle Royale before.
The Battle Royale. Absolutely.
Now, fair listener, you might be saying, but didn't you see the movie? Don't they discuss this? It's all in Japanese. And I had subtitles. So...
Oh, you had subtitles?
I had subtitles. You had, what, dub?
I had terrible dubbing. Terrible, some of the worst dubbing that I'd seen. It was a crime.
Then what did they say?
I think they said Battle Royale.
Well, that's very definitive.
They had literally the worst accents. It was like when they did the Californians on...
The Californians.
That's pretty much the accent that they were rocking in Battle Royale.
Wah, wah, wah. No, it was all subtitles. And this movie is like 20 years old in Japan. Had you ever heard of this movie?
Never heard of it. Clearly inspired several other films, but I fell asleep last night watching it, so I had to watch the rest of it while I'm drinking my coffee.
Did it give you the bad dreams?
I did have some running and chasing dreams.
So now, the question about this, as we are all school teachers, and these kids are young. They're like 9th graders or something.
Yeah, the actors, unfortunately, were not.
Some were. Some. I guess they said some were like 15 or 16, and some were a little bit older. There were no Andrea Zuckermans from 90210. There's no 35-year-olds, as far as I know.
Yeah, some of them were saying like they were, the person who ultimately wins was saying that it happened when he was in 7th grade and then in 9th grade, but these actors are not that age.
Well, okay, the parts that took place when it was 7th grade was when the one dude, Katana, was their teacher. And then we got to talk about this.
All right, let's just roll into this, Biz.
Well, first let me say I'd seen ads for this on various not ads, but like, you know how they show you you're skimming through Netflix or whatever, and you'll see like the poster. So I definitely had heard of this movie before, and I think I knew it was kind of Hunger Games-ish, although this came out before Hunger Games,
right?
But I didn't know anything else about it. Didn't know zippity doo dah about it. So we were all starting with a clean slate. Okay. You and I are school teachers.
Yes.
They are now. We said that it's science fiction because it takes place in the future, the near future. It's kind of a dystopian situation where in Japan, and they're kind of fuzzy on this. There was like economic upheaval, right? Like, and people were losing their jobs, and at the same time, kids were like, "I'm not going to school."
Kids were disrespectful and they needed to be punished. So
that's basically,
and then it becomes, what was it? The most dangerous game.
The most deadliest game?
Whatever.
The most deadliest game? What? It's who the
They're
hell knows?
hunting teens for it's Lord of the Flies, except they have to hunt each other, and it's
Right.
Japan, so
And
they're
it's Japan.
polite.
Nope. If they had been polite, they wouldn't be in this mess.
They're little
That's what you
sass
gotta
mouths.
remember.
That's what you
I
get.
mean,
That's what you get.
we got to talk about this. So there were flashbacks to when they were all in 7th grade.
Am
And
I
there's
going to do
the,
my 30-second review, or you just rolled right past
you
that?
said let's just roll right in. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Battle Royale.
That's where you try to steal the star away from me. This is
That's
where
what
I
it is.
shine. This is where I shine. Battle Royale! Battle Royale! You and me, mano a mano.
That's how it starts.
All right. High school, Japan. Kids are freaking psycho. Stab a teacher in the ass. It's just all in a day's work. Guess what, kids? You're all gonna go to this mysterious place and you're gonna fight to the death. And even though it's televised, you all seem to have no idea what's happening. Like little girls, like they look like the twins from Mothra get killed. Killed. Almost all the women are wiped off the face of the earth within 5 minutes. Along with every like weird body type boy, until you were down to the 2 trim boys and the quiet meekest of all the girls. Fake a death. The end. Run away.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's literally it's not as coherent as Hunger Games, but it is as violent as Squid Games. I mean, clearly these are all based. There's no clear explanation as to why they're doing this or why none of the kids seem to be aware of it. They're like, what?
Yes.
They're
This
all
is
like,
the thing.
what?
Well, the movie starts where it's like camera zoom in. Here's like reporters interviewing the little girl who won the last Battle Royale. Like she's like a celebrity.
All over the news, and nobody seems to know about it.
Right. And also, like you said, this edition of the Battle Royale, you said it's all televised. It's not all televised.
No, I mean, but the winner. So people clearly know what's going on, and it's celebrated.
Well, but you're right. Except when they capture these kids, they're acting like this is all news to them.
Right. Which shouldn't make any sense.
It shouldn't make any sense. And then when they are allegedly down to one person, where are the reporters? Where's the news crew to interview them? None of that happens.
None of that happens this time. Exactly.
That seemed to be a little questionable. But okay, we have to talk about the 7th grade flashback with the disgruntled teacher, Kitano. His kids just don't show up and he looks forlorn. He's like, oh, I'm so upset. If that happened to me, I would not look forlorn if suddenly the kids are like, hey, I'm not coming. What are you going to do about it? Go home?
Stab you in the ass with a butterfly knife?
This was as bad a moment as anything you might see in Stand and Deliver or Lean on Me or Dangerous Minds even. He is literally leaving the classroom and the class clown stabs him in the ass with a butterfly knife. That's bad. That's bad.
And then just leaves. No repercussion.
Evidently, they say like he had stopped coming to school because that was one of the first kids who got killed. Like now, the teacher later gets his revenge because he's just like, I'm just going to show that these neck collars that you all have to wear, they really work. Boop, boom. I'm remembering. You stabbed me in the ass with a butterfly knife. I'm going to blow your head off.
It hurt like hell.
Wasn't good times. So 7th grade, kids were acting up. Go ahead.
Failed substitute teacher suddenly becomes the engineer for all this bullshit?
Well, I think he was their regular teacher. He was the substitute teacher. They just treated him like a substitute teacher.
I just don't understand how you get hooked up with this other group.
That's an excellent question. So somehow the government, I guess because the kids are too disrespectful, they hold a raffle, right? And they pick a junior high school class to basically force them to kill each other. And you can only, there's 42 kids in this class. You can only survive if after 3 days, there's only one of you left. If there's 2 of you left, they detonate the collars.
Pop your head.
Pop
it
your head like a grape. And they give you each like a rucksack with like a map, a compass, a loaf of bread, and 1 bottle of water, and then possibly a weapon. Possibly one dude gets literally the lid of a pot. Not helpful. There's no value in that.
Yeah, one dude got a GPS. Then there's 2 ringers, and one of the ringers looks at his bag, marches back in, throws it down, and says, "I want that one, the one with clearly a gun in it." and they're like, "Okay."
And they're cool with it. They're like, whatever's clever. Oh God! So they think they're going on a field trip, and they get gassed, and they're now on a deserted island with like an army there with machine guns, basically saying, "We're going to do this." And meanwhile, the host of our show is that teacher you stabbed in the ass 2 years ago. He's here. Why is he there? Again, they don't need a host, right? This isn't televised. This isn't the Hunger Games. It makes no sense.
It's Squid Games. Yeah, he literally takes the same butterfly knife and throws it into the forehead of a girl who was whispering.
I said no talking!
I said no talking.
Right. Yeah. 2 people don't make it out of the room, courtesy of the teacher.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And while they're there, they realize there's 2 new transfer students, is what they call them. Where did they suddenly come from? There's very little explanation why they're like, we'll just throw a couple extra kids in there just for fun. But you can tell these are like psychos or something. That's what you're supposed to think. These are 2 bad guys.
They could literally care less. And we find out later, one is a former champion who was kidnapped and put back here.
Why?
And the other one was a volunteer. So obviously people heard of it if you have volunteers who wants to just come and hunt junior high kids. And who doesn't, really? Junior high kids are a mess.
Good times. But again, why are people volunteering? I guess he's a psycho and wants to just kill people. But why did the homie who won before, why was he back on the show? Did they explain it and I missed it?
I thought he said that they just grabbed him and drugged him and sent him back just for shits and giggles.
Just for shits and giggles. Interesting.
Just to stir the pot. So what we've learned is that when you win, unlike Squid Games, where you get like a bag full of money and all your debts paid off, you get to go home until they kidnap you again.
Right. There's no extra bonus other than you get to survive until the next time they grab you off the street. I don't know. Who's to say?
Exactly.
I was impressed by how quickly they started killing each other. There was no like honeymoon period, like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. People were getting killed. Dude who's got the crossbow, boom. She steps right out the door, crossbow in the neck.
Yeah.
But then he falls down the hill and loses the crossbow, and then he gets killed 2 seconds later.
And then cries and gets killed. So there you go. You get that for being a puss.
That's what you get.
The girl got shot in the neck and she's coming up to people. What's happening? I don't understand. You're like, whoa.
It's too late for you, honey.
Yeah.
And like 6 or so of the kids just commit suicide. Like 2, like a young couple just jump off a ledge to their death, and a few others just hang themselves.
Yeah.
Is that what you do? You just hang yourself 5 minutes after arriving?
No, my first thing is hide.
Right. But here's the thing. They talk about how from time to time, different sectors of the island will become like no man's land. And if you're in one of those sectors, then your collar gets activated and your head explodes. Now, I guess this is so you can't just hide.
Right. But you have to keep moving. So there'll be people waiting for you to cross out of the zone.
But it's like there's never a moment in the movie where somebody falls asleep and their head explodes. You know, you think there'd be one scene where be like, oh, damn, I missed the morning announcement. I got to get out of the sector.
Yeah, none of that.
Missed opportunity.
So what you have a lot of the people who didn't go into groups all get picked off one at a time. The people that lasted the longest were in groups.
Right.
So you have the tech dudes who immediately hack into the system, find a generator, rally it. I'm like, why are they charging the landlines? I'm not sure about that. You taking calls, and there's internet. That confused me a little bit.
Right. I think they're like the basketball team or something are also like hackers. The one dude's like, I'm going to figure out a way so we can shut off the collars and then we're cool. We're all good. We don't have to do this. So there's that subplot. The biggest
Right.
issue with this movie I found is number one, there are so many students
Yeah.
that most of the time you don't know or give a damn about whether they live or die.
42. I think there was, I can't remember in Squid Games. There was over 100. But that, of course,
That's an ongoing series, right?
Right. That was not 2 hours. And there were many people at the beginning of Squid Games that were mowed down. You lost like 50 people at the first activity.
Right. I mean, and that was kind of a reoccurring theme. There's a moment later in the movie where our hero Shuya gets injured and wakes up in like a what is that thing? Like a lighthouse, being bandaged up. Chicks love Shuya, by the way. Everyone he meets is like, "Oh, you're so cute. We love you."
He's got K-pop hair. That's what it is.
He does. That's all it takes. He's being nursed back to health, and there's like 5 chicks, and they're all dressed exactly the same way. All have the same, have dark hair, and they get into a shootout. One of them accidentally poisons another one because she's trying to poison Shuya because she's afraid, and then it's just gunfight. Boom, 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 where they're just shooting. I'm like, I have no idea who's getting shot. I have no idea, who's the nice one that was, making goo-goo eyes at Shuya. It was anarchy. It was like very difficult for me to follow what's happening.
I agree.
Any comments?
Not much. I agree. There were some different parts where I thought was kind of amusing, but mostly because, how are these the most disrespectful people in the world? I come over to like one of my old 7th period classes. I'll show you disrespectful. Although I was never stabbed in the ass. So at one point you have the 2 Mothra girls at the top of the hill. Everybody, let's come to. They got a megaphone. Come,
that was their weapon.
We can resist. Yeah, their weapon is a megaphone. Men all got guns, and women got like megaphones and weird
binoculars.
Bullshit. Like binoculars. Yeah, this isn't sexist at all. So they're like, "Come join us," and people are like, "Oh, okay, yay! Hi, friends." And our couple happens to be with someone who's been through this before. Yes. It was like, no, slow down. And of course, all these people start walking up to them where the psycho dude just mows them down and then just stands over them, shooting them. They still have the energy to still flop and complain and sigh.
Can we talk about how, okay, basically, so eventually we learn there's the really bad guy who's like a psychopath, and then there's the really bad girl who is like a trauma survivor who's also psychopathic. So they're the ones.
Why did they get them together? That would have been interesting to be like the bad couple versus the good couple.
But the bad guy picked up an Uzi, like that was his weapon. And it never runs out of bullets. Other people, it's click, click, click. He's turning around, mowing them down.
Yeah, fantastic. It's like Scarface. It's like every one of those bullshit gangster movies where it's just an endless stream.
It was. Well, he got like some kind of paper flower in his backpack, actually. But he got like kidnapped by like a gang who had an Uzi, and he just took the Uzi away from them and just murdered them all.
Yeah.
Boom. in 2 seconds. He must have killed 25 by himself of the 42.
Because he don't gives a damn.
He don't gives up. But what's interesting about this movie is that reoccurring kind of junior high thing where it's just like, well, they're not part of our group. I don't really trust those girls. You just assume if I didn't get along with you that much, I know you're going to try to kill me. We're making that leap to
I might as well kill you.
Right.
What are you to me?
Right. You were mean to me. You stole my boyfriend that one day. Now I'm going to kill you.
You gave me that bad look in the hall.
There was a lot of that. Sweet Jesus. Good Lord. So we noticed there was this other thing, because there was this other guy named no offense to anybody. I am horrible at remembering these Japanese names.
Well, no offense to anyone. I never remember any of the names. Japanese, British,
right.
Italian, whatever.
So you had the main couple was Shuya and Noriko. They basically team up with Kawada, who had won before. And you think he's a bad guy. Turns out he's not a bad guy.
He's like a doctor. He's a chef. He knows how to steer a boat. He's an action hero.
That's correct. Now, there's another guy named Mamura who is trying to find, I guess, the girl that he likes. And he has the little, his weapon
GPS.
is the GPS. So there is a subplot where his best friend, this girl, Takako, she is mortally wounded fighting the evil girl, but she tracks him down and kind of professes, she's like, I know we're just good friends, but I've always loved you, blah, 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 blah. So it's like you're trying to juggle all of these different disparate relationships. Later, Mamura does find, you thought it was like his girlfriend, but it was just a lot of, I've always had a crush on you.
Right.
Kind of moments. Right, but right after she blows him away, she guns him down. Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were somebody else. You should have told me you had a crush on me before I shot you 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Jesus.
I can't remember what happened to at the lighthouse.
Yes.
When they've captured the boy that who's our hero, I guess. Yep. And we have the girl who was his friend who thought he killed someone with an axe. So she's decided to poison him. Yes. Only someone else eats it and she doesn't take the plate away. So her whole group ends up accusing each other, blowing each other away, and she crawls under a table. What happened to her?
Okay. We have to talk about this.
Because I get confused with her and the chick at the end.
Yeah, we don't. Many times we've only met these people once. We meet them once and then they're killed. Like you said, she saw Shuya defend himself. And he acts, even though he's defending himself, the guy accidentally who's attacking him stabs himself in the head with the axe.
But she thinks that the dude attacked him.
Yes.
So he could have taken that axe and bopped him on the head and would have been justified. But now she thinks he's a murderer. Meanwhile, people are exploding left and right. So she wants to kill him.
Right. She's afraid. She's afraid of him. So she has
all the bombs going off outside.
The gunfire, screams. Her weapon was a bottle of poison. So there's like 5 girls up in this lighthouse. One of them had a crush on Shuya and was nursing him back to health. The girl with the poison, I guess, was going to do it surreptitiously, poison it like his food, because she didn't think the other girls would go along with it, or she was just so afraid, or she was ashamed. We don't know why she wanted to do it like secretly, but she poisons his food. But of course, her friend, who's hungry, grabs the plate. Now, it would have taken her 2 seconds to knock the plate out of her hands.
You just knock it out. I said, dude, I put poison in there. But instead, she's such a wimp. Yes. That's what I wanted to know that I can't remember what happened to her. Did she die a terrible death? Because she deserves it.
So after,
in a sense, she is responsible for 5 people's deaths.
absolutely, she commits suicide. She leaves that room. Again, she don't, when they're all accusing each other, she doesn't say a word.
Doesn't say shit. She lets it all happen.
One friend eats the poison and is promptly dead. So now the other girls think one of them is trying to murder the rest of them. But it's a lot of accusing.
Because they've eaten out of the pot, so they know the pot's not poisoned.
Right. So bloody gunfire occurs. She now feels remorse that she didn't knock the plate out of the girl's hand. All she had to say was, "Hey, that's mine. I've been preparing it. I'm going to eat. You can get your own bowl." Right? She didn't have to say this is all poison. But she didn't have to let her eat it
and say, "Don't be rude. Do something." But she could have stopped it. She didn't. It was a lot of standing. It was a lot of that kind of stereotypical female Japanese stand back with your hands over your mouth. Oh dear. That kind of situation.
That's exactly what happened. So all of her friends are dead. She feels sad and guilty, so she goes up and throws herself from the lighthouse. You see her body on the rocks below. So that's what happens. And again, we have never met these girls before, any of them. Okay? We don't see them until Shuya opens his eyes and suddenly there's another girl we've never seen before taking care of him. And then it's like, oh, by the way, there's 5 of us. And by the end of this scene, we're all dead. So
I thought when he woke up, he was with the mean girl.
That's what I thought for a second, but it's not her. She had a very distinct look. We didn't know she was the mean girl until she kills the girl with the shocker, the stun gun or whatever. And then it's revealed, oh, you're the mean girl. So every other time you see her, she's immediately trying to kill who's ever there. Like at one point, there's like a flash of like 2 naked guys dead. Like clearly she'd like tried to seduce them and then killed them when they got naked.
Yeah.
And then there's a reveal, like a flashback when she was very young. Her mom was drunk at the table. And some dude, I thought it was her father, but I guess it was just a stranger, had paid the mom. So there's money that she had.
Yeah.
And he pulled out a doll and said, "Ooh, here's a doll just like it's just like you," and then takes the clothes off the doll.
That was brutal.
That was rough sledding. And then I guess
I'm sure. So because of that, she's crazy. So anyone who's been molested, we clearly just need to kill.
Well,
is that what it is?
Well, and yes, that's exactly correct.
That's the message.
That's the message. Now we don't think she was actually molested. It was like she was going to be molested, but she knocked the dude down the stairs. So I guess she discovered. So instead, he was killed. So that awakened her desire to murder.
That gave her. Oh, okay. Let's clarify that. You're right. I forgot it that she pushed him down the stairs. So that awakened the bloodlust.
I mean, although you could argue that this is clearly something that's happened before. Like drunk mom is down with, "Give me some money and you can have your way with my 5-year-old daughter." I mean, she was young in this flashback.
It was super creepy. She looked like Samira, baby Samira.
Baby Samira. So at the end of the movie, there's just the 3 of them left, and they're all good friends. Now, earlier in the movie, Kawada had said, "Don't worry, on the end of the last day, we can go to the beach, and I have an escape plan." And when they get there, he pulls his gun. Now, did you think he was now just going to kill them?
Yeah, I thought that was it. Boom. It was going to be, that's it. Peace in the Middle East, motherfucker. Woo!
Right. He had me fooled, but evidently that was not the plan. It was a trick. It was a trick because they can't see you. They can just hear what's going on. I guess there's a microphone in their necklaces or whatever.
And they're being tracked everywhere. So the overseers know how many people are alive.
Right. But evidently the basketball playing hackers had shorted out all their stuff. So now they couldn't track who was still around. But I think there was some reveal that Kawada had already infiltrated the computer network weeks ago and had already kind of put his plan in motion so they wouldn't be able to figure this out.
Yeah, so that does. So the idea then that he was kidnapped and woke up that doesn't make any sense at all.
It makes no. Who the hell knows?
There's I mean, the whole concept is interesting and original.
Yes.
Maybe an eye on more detail because, of course, then you have the Hunger Games and really Squid Games.
Well, but I mean, we can go even deeper. I mean, Battle Royale came out. It was actually a book, then a manga, then the movie. It kind of kicked off this whole run of young adult fiction that deals with, killing young people. Let's have the kids kill each other. So you got Hunger Games, you got like Insurgent, those books, the Divergent books,
Yeah.
Apocalyptic, you got like the Maze Runner books. Every couple of years, there's some kind of, oh my God, we're in junior high or we're, in freshmen in high school. Now we have to kill each other.
Lord of the Flies. So what you're saying is the young people, actually this is written by adults, of course, but adults figured kids are tired of just reading about adults killing each other. They want in on some of the fun themselves.
I think we can all agree on that, right?
And then it's going to be Look Who's Talking Battle Royale, where it's going to be like 2-year-olds with knives.
It will be Look Who's Talking.
Eventually, if they don't kill each other, they all just lay there screaming with like shitty diapers.
And John Travolta will be the star. So there you go. You have that.
I'm so unhappy. My diaper's full and I didn't get to kill anyone today. Goo.
Goo. Shall we discuss behind the scenes, sweet Jesus?
Wait a minute. I haven't even looked at my notes.
What else is new? What you got?
I think that in the headquarters, the whole background looked like it was made by Atari.
Yep.
It was that total block graphics that the kids love these days.
Yes, it was Minecraft.
I wrote down a couple of lovely quotes. My mom and dad ran off and died or something just because they wanted to. So it's the children complaining about their neglect. That was a classic. They ran off or died just because they wanted to.
Well, his mom ran off and his dad committed suicide. Shuya. It's a sad situation, clearly.
But this long note in Japanese, which they did not translate.
It said, go, Shuya, you can do it.
Okay, the note was 35 feet long, so it had to be more than... It just repeated on a giant roll of toilet paper. That's nice.
Well, it was also like one letter at a time, so...
Well, you know what would have helped Shuya? Maybe not finding his dead father with his pants down, hanging from the living room.
Yes.
What was that?
I think it might have been a case of autoerotic asphyxiation.
I thought it was a carotene situation there.
It was the lead singer of INXS and Kung Fu. Both those dudes bit the death autoerotic asphyxiation. It's sweeping the nation. So look out. It's true.
I did not know that the guy from INXS died from that. They always said it was just suicide. They always just say it was suicide.
Wrong. Michael Hutchins and David Carradine. I mean, if the families are listening, no offense.
I forgot to mention that in the documentary I just watched about Mr. Hutchins.
They didn't close with that. So this is not a laughing matter. Real people died. I apologize to all parties involved. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No one died in the making of this movie.
That is true.
Question. At one point, the helicopter leaves. The main dude, you didn't even explain this whole fucking end. But then the soldiers drive off. It's an uninhabited island. Where are the soldiers going?
To the port, perhaps? Is that something?
I didn't see no damn boat. I decided I could be a voice actor because literally the people doing the dub, it was just made no sense. You would never match that voice to that face. It was also flat and ridiculous.
So this is interesting because you watch the dub version, I watch the subtitle version, and when we discuss our ratings, maybe that will play a factor. You know what I'm saying?
Mine was a re-edited 2001 special edition where the end it said Requiem 1 where it went through all the dream sequences for no apparent reason.
Oh yeah. I watched the director's cut. So we'll see what that means.
And then what about this? I treasure the knife that stabbed you. I keep it in my desk. So, do you love how about that? How about that? So the knife that was used to stab the teacher in the ass, our hero, who the teacher loves, would like
the
to pay her
girl.
mother,
Noriko.
Noriko, she grabbed the knife off the ground after the teacher was stabbed and took it home and treasured it.
Right. Kitano, the teacher, and Noriko was the one student who came to class that day. Like they had you're trying to make it seem like it was some Tadre or something. I think they just had, he said, I've always thought of you as my daughter. At one point he appears in the jungle and holds like an umbrella over her when it's raining outside.
But it's not enough of a daughter to keep her from going through this fresh hell, because it cannot be a coincidence that this is the teacher and this is the school.
No, it can't. There's no explanation, because you're absolutely right. I mean, presumably he's just an educator, maybe a poor one, but I guess the government recruited him to lead the show. And he's like, now that I'm on board, I have no problem killing at least a couple of these students on their way out the door.
Oh,
so
he had some anger issues for sure. So then it makes me wonder, like for the next year when they decide to kill off part of their population again, is it going to be yet another disgruntled educator rolling all this business out? I mean, if they recruited me, I'm not going to have the knife skills to be able to just fling it into somebody's head.
Well, you better start practicing.
You don't know when the government, when the second wave of Trump rolls down and we start hunting each other for sport. You don't know. I guess I need to start working on it.
Who's to say?
They say that human meat tastes sweet like pork.
But to answer your question, I don't know why. I don't know why Noriko took the knife and treasures it always. Makes no sense. Who's the hell?
How about the long, weird dream sequence where they're walking down the polluted river, eating like orange creamsicles, having weird conversations?
I don't know if that was a dream or was that a memory.
It showed up at the end of my version as a requiem. It showed up twice. It showed up during the movie, and then it had these three. Is yours the same thing with the three requiems?
I think so. I don't know if they called them requiems, but I do remember kind of little bizarre flashback moments.
The basketball team with the basketball bouncing backwards. It was the girl walking on the beach, and then there was one other that I've already blacked out.
It's madness. Anything else?
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, let's talk about behind the scenes, shall we?
Do tell. Were they getting busy?
Many members of the Japanese parliament tried to get the novel banned to no avail. When the film came out, they tried to get it banned. But as often occurs, when they were unable to get these things banned, it just basically made people go like, what's all the fuss about? I'm going to go read that book and watch that movie. It became a huge hit.
It's Harry Potter all over again. When the church tried to ban it, everybody's double down. Get me 6 books.
I need to read it at least 6 times from 6 different copies. It is one of the top 10 highest grossing films in Japan of all time.
What's the second highest grossing?
I don't know. I only said this is one of the top 10. I didn't say it's the number one.
Okay.
There's a point where they're making a bomb and reading a book called The Ticking Clock. Evidently, that's a real bomb-making manual from the 70s that was put out by an anti-Japanese government organization called the East Asia Anti-Japanese Armed Front. So it's like
Ooh.
a terrorist group within Japan.
Like the
There you go.
anarchist cookbook?
Like the anarchist cookbook.
I remember I was moving into this apartment, or I was trying to, and the person whose room I was moving into hadn't quite left yet. And he was a little unstable, and we were going through his stuff, and we found a copy of the anarchist cookbook, which we took because we figured he didn't need that information. It was a total bootleg copy of a copy of a copy. I'm like, he doesn't need to know how to make pen-size explosives.
I knew somebody who brought a copy of the anarchist cookbook to high school. As far as I know, he didn't blow anything up, so that's good.
Is he still alive, still walking the earth?
I believe so. I mean, we're not buddies. I mean,
He wasn't at your wedding?
No. And it's been more years than I'd care to recount since I've seen him, frankly.
Our old neighbors with the BB guns, with the cars on blocks and...
Who the hell are you talking about?
The one who tried to ransom my white rabbit. I would get these messages and they'd captured my rabbit and they wanted $50. I'm like, I'm calling the police. And then a dude stood at the door holding my rabbit by its ears while it was kicking.
Oh my God, I didn't know this story. Where did they live?
Down South Riverside Drive.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh, they're still alive. I snooped on their Facebook. I'll drop a name later.
Cyber stalking. An American remake was in development as early as 2000. But by then, The Hunger Games became a huge hit. So they felt it was too close, and people would have thought it was just a ripoff, even though it came out before The Hunger Games.
My problem with it is there's so much going on that I don't even know how long this movie is, but you can't fully develop the story with 42 people being hunted, and it's too constrained a time.
Well, I mean, maybe in a book or a miniseries, you could do something like that. But it's like in The Hunger Games, we aren't focusing on all of the backstories for all of these characters.
Right.
But in this, they kind of are trying to. So it gets complicated. This movie was banned for a short time in Germany. Like, people were very concerned about this movie. They thought, because at the time, there weren't 15 different movies about kids killing each other.
Right.
So at the time, this was very controversial.
Children of the Damned, where they killed each other with their minds.
Children of the Damned did not kill each other. They killed the adults.
Adults don't like those. Adults don't like those stories.
I do not.
I love how Japanese it is because they're hunting the children because they're disrespectful.
Yes, that's why you should hunt children.
So this is in lieu of suspension.
I thought a timeout would have been appropriate, but I got overruled.
Dude, I got a movie right here, man, where you think your kid's on in-campus suspension, when in reality the government trucks comes by each school, starts picking them up. Then they hunt them.
Royale.
Battle Royale, America style.
That's right. Now, this movie was never banned in the United States, but it never had a release in the United States. And there's questions as to why. It could have been a case of the Japanese corporations were requesting a remarkably high amount from the people to distribute it. And this kind of movie, typically like a B movie house might distribute it.
Right.
But it was too high for them. And the big budget places just didn't want to release that.
And honestly, traditionally, Americans don't watch foreign language films.
Right. Traditionally. We do. We do our thing. But...
We do, but, we watched Godzilla. We watched, Bruce Lee. We watched all that stuff. We're not going beyond monsters and karate. Karate.
Okay. Guilty. This movie was banned in South Korea TV due to graphic violence. So there you go.
Hello. They doubled down with Squid Game, so obviously they're cool with it now.
They're cool with it. Well, it's been 20 years. Now this is just standard.
Now it's double down. Oh yeah, Japan. Finger to you, double down.
That is true. The actress Chiaki Kuriyama, who played Takako Chigusa, was cast a few years later as Gogo Yabari
Kill Bill.
in Kill Bill. And it's because Quentin Tarantino loves this movie. He loved it so much that he insisted. What's funny is she doesn't play that big of a role in this movie. Do you know who she is in this movie?
No. Which one is she?
That's what I'm talking about. She's not the main girl. She's not the evil girl. She's the friend of Mamori who gets mortally wounded and then kind of professes her love before dying.
Okay.
She's literally in 10 minutes of the movie. So it was an interesting choice. She's good, though.
Now I've decided. You've already decided my Halloween costume for school next year. I'm going as Gogo.
Gogo Yabari. This movie...
And I must compliment you, my brother, since I can't even remember the names of people with American-sounding names. You're just rocking your Japanese.
I'm sure I'm butchering them. I can't even speak English right now. So... if you say it with authority, then it sounds like you know what the hell you're talking about.
It must be true. Tell it like it is, Kevin. Tell it like it is.
This movie is called Battle Royale, or Royale. In Japanese, it is Batoru Royale. So there you go.
No more.
And there was a sequel.
Mr. Roboto.
There was a sequel that came out a couple years later. So there you go. Called, oh goodness.
Battle Royale 2.
Royale 2 Chinkankwa, which I think means redemption. Something like that.
Well, and interestingly enough, there'll be a sequel to the Squid Games where the guy who wins goes and doubles down to seek his revenge.
To seek his revenge! So what's interesting is the guy who played Kitano, the teacher, is like a comedian, like TV host normally.
No, we've seen him in something else.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like he kind of played against type.
No, I understand what you're saying, but we've seen him before. You got his creds?
Yeah, let me see if I can find
You got his CV?
I got something here. You're putting me on the spot. Where are you? Jesus.
That's my job, mixing it up. And what's the second highest rated, highest grossing?
The answer is I do not know.
Malaysia.
Oh, sweet Jesus. You know what? Since we're talking about it, why don't we just go through the cast, shall we?
Right. We shall.
Shuya Nanahara was played by Tatsuya Fujiwara. And you know him from Battle Royale, I'm messing it up, Battle Royale 2, Death Note. You know these, don't you? Aki Maeda played Noriko Nakagawa. She was in Battle Royale 2, The Cat, and Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. So there you go.
Ghidorah.
That's right. Taro Yamamoto played Shogo Kagawa. Battle Royale, Moonchild, Get Up. You know him, don't you? I'm not going to go through the entire cast, but
I just asked about the one dude, Kitano.
Chiaki Kuriyama played Takako Chikuza. You know her from Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2 and Boyle. Now I'm calling it Boyle.
It's a Boyle! Said that to Dr. Pimple Popper.
We got to. Let me see if I can find. We want to find out about Kitano because there's literally I have to go through 42 different students. Where are you at? We may never know the answer.
And isn't Kitano a knife? Who's Kitano? I've already forgotten.
Kitano is the teacher. Okay.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know.
Because I know him.
Okay, I'm just going to go here and see if I can figure this out.
You're going to have to edit all this up.
Oh, no. This is all staying. Kitano was played by Takeshi Kitano. So it was like his real name.
Okay.
Japanese comedian, actor, and director. He was one half of the comedy duo Two Beat. You know him, don't you? He directed Violent Cop. You know that one.
I love, what a great name.
International. Remember Bone Cop? We talked about it. There's a French movie and bon means good, but in English it sounds like Bone Cop. So that's a whole nother movie.
That's different than the Bone Daddy.
Absolutely it is.
No, he was in that David Bowie movie.
What David Bowie movie?
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, you know him, don't you?
He's in Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, he
was. Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh, yes, I remember him actually from Johnny Mnemonic. I do.
You're a liar.
I swear to God, with Keanu Reeves.
But yeah. He was also in Erotic Liaisons. But as I'm rattling all these off, I actually apparently did not. We must have. I have a memory of you telling me of a meanie in one of our movies who in real life is a comedic actor.
That happens all the time.
It happens every day.
And what's funny is Kitano in Johnny Mnemonic is not playing a comedic role either. So I don't know what they're trying to trick me or something. I guess he was funny in the 70s and now he's dour and serious. So
wait, didn't we watch a Japanese movie that he was in though?
No.
Where they're in a warehouse. Oh fuck.
Yeah, this is good pod, by the way.
This is good podding. We have seen so many movies, it just starts washing over you after a while.
You're telling me.
I'm telling you, this is one of them. And as soon as you hit stop record, it'll jump into my brain and I will call you. I will wake up your wife. I will wake up all your children and I will say, vindicated.
Please do so. Should we talk about the ratings?
What are the ratings? What did Rex Reed say?
Currently 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience gave it 89%. Let me see if I can pull up the critics. Top critics. While I'm doing that, I want to regale you in a story, dear listeners. Aaron, you know about this.
Yes.
Mandy Patinkin.
Yes!
The famous actor, star of stage and screen. He evidently liked, this is what's so funny. So our brother Brian on Facebook, like a month or two ago, shared with me, like somebody he follows, shared a video of the trailer for Alien Nation. Brian thought I'd be interested, so he, like, the comments below, he just put my name. So I would get like a notification, so then I'd look at it.
Right.
Today, Mandy Patinkin, star of Alien Nation, did not like
Yentl.
And Yentl and Princess Bride. He's all over the place. He did not like the post of the video. He liked that Brian tagged me on it. So the question is he a fan of Brian? Is he a fan of mine? Is he a fan of Alien Nation? Because none of them seem particularly likely. So, good question.
Or is it all of the above, you son of a bitch?
All of the above! So, let's take a look. Now back to Battle Royale.
I hope you put that on your resume. Someone else retweeted you, and now Mandy Patinkin, who I saw with our parents over in San Luis Obispo, doing the songs of Stephen Sondheim. Where
He's a very talented guy.
He is a song and dance, but that's when I realized I really don't care for Stephen Sondheim.
Oh, very sad. Very sad indeed. Now, what you're referring to is that I posted something on Twitter about the movie The Specialist, starring Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone, and famed actor Eric Roberts responded, ha ha.
Yes, Eric Roberts. Yay,
Thank you.
that was it. I think you need to create a little resume, your own CV of people who have liked your random posts. So in what, 5 years you got 2? Woo!
Not bad. Not a bad batting average, I'd have to say. Let's see. I honestly am not recognizing any of these names. So I'm just gonna pick, let's see, New York Times.
Boom.
Let's see, New York Times. A.O. Scott from the New York Times gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Ooh, that's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Awful deaths and hysterical reactions to them. Okay. Punctuate declarations of love and friendship. Revelations of treachery and heavily armed expressions of angst. Interesting. Okay. Good times. Angst. Let's see. Anything else I want to read? Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian. Fukasaku's film can't maintain the sheer exhilarating rush of its first 30 minutes, but it's an outstanding work nonetheless. They all gave it pretty much good reviews.
I mean, it's really the first of the let's hunt the children or have the children hunt each other for sport movies. So, I mean, if we weren't so jaded, if we'd seen this 20 years ago, probably would have blown our minds.
Oh, no question. No question. So give me your review. What do you think?
So my review, with the solid, I would say, Godzilla level of acting and the plot that has so many holes that once again Godzilla could walk through it. But still, you got to give it up for being original.
It was the originator. So what's your score? What's your rating?
So, and because I hate it when people talk when I'm talking, even though I'm the great interrupter, I just want to say that I am going to give it, I'm going to go out there and give it 4 out of 5 butterfly knives to the head to the Whisper Girl.
That's a good one.
I am speaking.
No question. I will give it 3.5 butterfly knives to the ass. I enjoyed it overall. It didn't knock my socks off. Like I said, my biggest complaints about this is there's so many characters that seemingly were introduced and then immediately are killed. So it's like you don't really care. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I read the book, I might have a different opinion, or read the manga. But yeah, it's good, but not outstanding.
You know what it did lack? No one begged for their life. If we started seeing people crawling and begging, this would have been a whole different thing.
I don't know if I would have liked that. That would make it.
I know it would have been very
disturbing.
upsetting. It would have been very upsetting. But these are junior high kids. There should be hysteria. I mean, in junior high, there's hysteria because somebody looked at me funny. But everybody's dry-eyed while you're getting hunted.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. So there you have it. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcast, TW Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Aaron, we're on Instagram.
We are on the Insta. We are The Podcast That Wouldn't Die.
With extra underscores for your pleasure. So there you go. You can also email us at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. Make sure you like, share, rate, and review, if you will, please. Aaron, you are on social media. How can people find you?
I am the Cult of Aaron on the Insta. Join the cult. I'm also Don't Feed the Pigeon.
Lovely, lovely. Next week, we'll be doing the, horror classic, Mama. This was Aaron's choice. Aaron, you've seen this. I have never seen it. We've heard talk of this over the last few months, so I'm interested to check it out. You can watch it on HBO Max for free. It's free if you don't consider the $20 a month you're paying for the subscription. So good times had by all.
I am trying to remember. I can't believe. I wonder if I saw it at the theater because I've seen it. But maybe I saw it with Heather. In my mind, you've seen it. I'm afraid if I go through my big notebook of all the movies we reviewed, I think it'll like we've started over again.
We have never done.
We'd circle back around.
And I have to make clear, it's Mama, not Ma, and not Mother. Those are different movies. Mama, M-A-M-A. So there you go. So, thank you very much, and be well.
Rock on.